All right, welcome back, everybody, to another amazing live session where we talk about sales and marketing and trade shows and everything it takes to land accounts and to manage accounts and to follow up with accounts. And today we are joined by Shane. Shane is back. Shane, why don't you go ahead and give yourself a quick introduction?
Hey y'all, my name is Shane. I am the expense or one of the expense managers here at Prime Source, working with Michael and looking for lower cost alternatives for those nursing homes.
Amazing. Thank you. And we have a special guest with us this week. I'm super excited. You know, I call you a friend. I call you a brother. I call you a trade show friend. But more importantly, we're working on great projects together in Miami where you live. And Nathan, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Michael, it's great to be here. Shane, great to be here with you as well. Nathan Ginsbury, or Nosson Ginsbury, depending on how you know me as. Director of Sales here at Ploy, owner of Rocket Production, working in both the healthcare and retail sectors of the marketplace. Been doing sales, over 20 years now. So lots of stories and lots of situations over the years that we've had, and we've shared some together, Michael, in the past. But excited to be here.
All right, excited to have you. Thank you, Nathan, for that introduction. For those of you that don't know yet, Ploy is making waves in every industry because one of the biggest challenges today is staffing and finding staffing for every environment. And we're not just talking about fast food chains. We're not talking just about restaurants. We're not only talking about healthcare. We're talking about generally finding people who are not lazy, who want to make money, who want to grow, who want to be committed, which we'll talk about. And you know, it's amazing to have you part of our journey here today because we use Ploy a lot. I speak to so many people that use it as well. And very recently, it's coming up in my feed as advertisements that you guys are doing on social media. You guys are killing it.
We have a great team here and very proud of everything they're doing. And the fact that I probably put your name down as someone I met at a trade show is obviously working. So great stuff there.
Okay, good. I'm excited. So we've in the past spoke about cold calling. All right, the art of cold calling. We've also had a series talking about the cold approach, which is at trade shows or at events. And you know, Nathan, you and I have been there many times at events or at even just a private event. You know, just a cold approach of how to go over and speak to somebody. And we did some amazing lives that we did at the Zimmit show itself. And we had some amazing questions and comments and follow-ups. And it's been an amazing, amazing journey. Today, we're going to talk about the art of following up with clients. You've done the cold call, you've initiated the relationship, you've built up your confidence, you got through the gatekeeper, you went through that whole process, you actually got a hold of the right person because you did your research, and now you're having a difficult time getting them back on the horn, getting to talk to them and them understanding what it is that you do and getting to that closing period. You know, someone on LinkedIn recently, this week, actually, I think it was Sinai Roth who posted the idea of an opener or a closer. Nathan, I'm curious about your opinion on this. Like, does it have to be two different roles?
So I saw that post and I think I engaged with that on what Sinai's role actually is. I've seen him at the trade show as the real opener. You know, obviously at trade shows, you don't necessarily always see a closer, but what I saw from him does an awesome job at opening those doors and building those relationships. It doesn't have to be, in my opinion, two separate roles. You can be an opener and you can be a closer, but people are better at, you're not best at both, right? I haven't met somebody who is a brilliant opener and a brilliant closer. You can learn one or the other, but you can be both, just not maybe the best at both.
I actually love that. And that's something that you can work on and get better at. Shane, what are your thoughts about that? Being that you, as part of the Prime Source team, you know that we believe in the same concept that Nathan just said so eloquently, is that we believe everyone should be an opener and a closer. And some people have strengths in one, like Nathan just mentioned, and they have to be sharpened on their tools on the other. But Shane, what's your thoughts?
I think that when you do the opening, you know, if you've you talk more about them and not so much the business, and try to find out a lot more of their needs. I think it sets you up down the road. So when you are getting ready to close, I think it's a little bit easier.
Okay, yeah, that's true. And by the way, hello, Sam. Thanks for joining us and getting involved in the conversation. We love your comments and your questions. That's what keeps us going. And that's the whole adrenaline rush of doing this live. And AY agrees, and he loves it, Nathan. So I'm agreeing with you and resonating with that as well. And it was just such an interesting approach, because ultimately now we're at the point where you were at a trade show and you met someone. And I can't tell you how many times in the beginning of my career, I was so proud of myself for making relationships at trade shows. What happened is a few years went by and I realized that all I have is relationships with people at trade shows. I got to close those deals. I got to follow up. And that's when I started to realize that there's an art to it and it's not so simple. And just because you can help make a relationship by doing a cold call or a cold approach, the art of following up is a whole different world. And today I want to present it in the realm of love. I'm wearing this t-shirt here. It's all about love. And the reason why I'm wearing it, and for all of you fans already know that I wear a different t-shirt with a different message every week. Today, my message is, if you love what you do, which is what we're all doing here, right? And if you understand and appreciate the value of loving one another, imagine if you just take that idea and work that through with the relationship that you're trying to follow up with. Show them some love. I'll get into some of the tips and tricks towards the end. Hi, Joel. Thanks for joining. Nathan, let me jump right into it. Why are you in sales?
Because I love it. I absolutely love what I do every single day. My roles have changed over the years, right? At Apploy, I'm more of a coach and helping the sales team into developing their skills further. But I'm on most calls with them, and I just love selling. I really started at a very, very young age. I grew up, without giving the whole history of my background, my dad is a rabbi. I'm one of 11 kids. And, I was around people in the synagogue pretty much every single day. And, I was thinking about this, this morning driving in. What really got me started was seeing the people that around me who were doing sales. There was this guy, just a memory from a kid. I was 7, 8 years old. He was a car sales guy, right? But he had such fun in what he did. Every single day. And I might even be able to find it on Google. This guy's name was Morris Radovan. He owned a car dealership in Manchester, England. His adverts in every newspaper was, if you want a deal, please call and ask for Taki or Metzia, right? That was his thing. That was his advert. So when you called in, you were asking for Taki or Metzia. And for those here online, it's, if you're looking for the deal, right? If you really want the deal, call me. And he just had such fun about what he did. And it just gave me that kind of spark that just go out and have fun in what you do in sales, and you won't want to do anything else.
That's amazing. I have to tell you that I see Shane, you and I go out to trade shows a lot, and I see you having fun with what you're doing and loving what you do. What do you have to add?
I go back to Nathan's point. Instilled in me early on, if my granny would take me to nursing homes and I would go and talk to, and this was like 3, 4, 5 years old. And I would just go up and start talking, playing games, the elderly, they want to engage in everything. And so I think mine with the sales, I like to help people, obviously to make money, but obviously it's to help people find solutions for their challenges, find some different things, a different way for them to think about their process, open their eyes to, new existing ideas.
Shane, I want to take that to the next level, because I've heard this so many times from industry experts that do sales. And Nathan, I'm sure you're going to agree with this, that when it comes to doing sales and loving what you do and having fun with it, you want to help people and you want to feel that, sense of gratification. Like, I helped someone today, which is fantastic. But I've heard a tip, and I'd like to share this with everybody listening, is that when you're in sales, you're in the people's business. And when you're in the people's business, you're in the business of helping others. And when you're helping others, you feel good about it. And the fact is that you can not only go to a potential client and help them specifically with your product or service, you can help them with anything. Just ask them what's going on in your industry. How are you? How can I help you? How can I be of service? Maybe it's not a staffing platform that you need. Maybe it's not dietary costs that you're worried about. Maybe it's something entirely different, but I have a community of people. I have a way to reach them. And I have no one better, by the way, than you, Nathan, to discuss this concept of having a community, because I know that you were recently at a show and you spoke about this publicly. And Nathan, you need to share with us the secret of what you shared in front of all those hundreds of administrators. Please share with us your story.
So it came to me at the moment, right? It wasn't something that I ever thought about. You know, we're all part in our communities, WhatsApp groups, WhatsApp statuses, different groups. Anything that we need, you know, I said this to Michael. I think, you know, I can say this here as well. Jews don't believe in UPS, FedEx, or DHL. Why is that? Because you post it on a WhatsApp status and you go, anyone going to New York tomorrow? Anyone flying to Israel? Right? Take a package for me. And people take packages. Your car, if you break down with a flat tire on the road, on the side of the road, and you need a fix, what do? You post it on a group. This guy comes out with his jack, his air pressure. He fixes your tire and you're on your way and it didn't cost you $1, right? That is what we have as a sense of community. And it just struck me at that moment. We're all in the healthcare world, within communities. But for your actual staff, for your actual people that work there, what sense of community do they have with their colleagues, with their peers, with people around them? Creating that sense of FOMO, of that belonging of a community itself will just create a sense of keeping your actual employees there on the floor, wanting to work for you. They come to a new city, they come to a new town. Do they know where the dry cleaners is, the laundromat, their favorite Mexican food? Do they know where that is? Who are they asking? Who is their community that they can go to?
I love what you're saying. I want to really just, broaden what you're saying a little bit more. And for all of our listeners to understand better, first of all, your accent, like Karen is saying, is, it carries a lot of weight. For those of you that don't know, he's British, and the word advert means advertisement. And we're here for you. Don't worry. But like Karen mentioned, your accent is half of the sale already. It's just a lot easier to make it. So it's like Shane's height. Shane is like 6'5". Shane, how tall are you?
6'7".
6'7". Shane is 6'7". So when he approaches somebody, he already has the benefit of having the height. You have the benefit of having the accent. I want to tell everyone what you were talking about in terms of the sense of community. You see, we talk about all the time about retention and employees. And what everyone needs to realize is that a nursing home owner is thinking about retention of employees underneath him. A vendor or service provider is thinking about retention of employees underneath them. Everyone is thinking about retentionship. Everyone is thinking about the culture. And what, Nathan, you're picking up on is giving people a sense of a community. Let's dive deep into that for a second, because giving, let's say, for example, here at PrimeSource, right, or at Apploy, you want to give the people in your family, of your network, of your employees and your friends, you want to give them that sense of community. You want to showcase to them that this is our office, this is the park next door, this is the neighbor, this is the local synagogue or church, these are the people in your community. And in fact, it's one of the main reasons why I drive the idea of doing volunteer programs in the community, especially around our work environment, because that helps build that sense of community where people want to engage with you and work with you. So on that note, if you take a potential client who's maybe not from your community, right? It's different religion, different background, you can work on doing things in creating the relationship with that potential client that makes him or her feel that they're part now of your community, which is going back to what I said a few minutes ago, right before you started the story, which is so perfect. You want to help build a community for the people around you, for the potential customers. Ask them what they need. Talk to them about their struggles. Just have a conversation. Don't just push your service or product down their throat, right? Show a little love, going back to the concept of love, and the love will be shown right back to you. And you said it, Nathan, we're in this because we love it. Your basic answer to why are we in sales? Your basic answer is, I'm in sales because I love it and I have fun. Shane, why are you in sales? You're in sales because you love helping people. You love the outcome that it does. I want to go right into the whole idea of follow-up. But before I do, I want to tell you how how important follow-up is by telling both of you or everyone listening, sorry, a story that happened to me just yesterday. Okay, so I had a friend. I have a pontoon on a lake, like a half an hour from here, and I share it with a few friends. And I'm a believer in togetherness, in case you haven't figured that out by now. So I take that concept of togetherness and I convince my friends to buy things like pontoons with me. So I own this pontoon, and one of my friends went to fill up gas, and the owner looks at him and says, "Tell Michael he's a piece of garbage," and he starts, spewing hate on Michael. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So the guy comes back to me, he goes, "You got some issues over there at that marina." And I'm like, "I haven't been to that marina in years. What's his problem?" So I call him up, and long story short, I had an open invoice from 2021 for $78.52. I'm not kidding, by the way. I'm not making this up. I had an open invoice, and when I called him, immediately I said, "Hey, what's up? It's Michael. I heard you got some beef. What's happening?" And he goes, "You have an open invoice for 70." And I'm like, wow. I said, "First of all, I want to tell you that if you ever need to borrow any money, come to me. I'll lend you money. You're the kind of guy that I know will remember. But second of all, you didn't follow up with me. You sent me the invoice 3.5 years ago. And yes, it could be on me because I should have paid the invoice right away. I'm sorry I skipped it. But as a vendor, you had no follow-up? That was just weird." And I'm like, okay, so that brings me right into this conversation of following up and how important it is. I wanted to start off this program by just calling someone that I know, and we're going to get to this in a minute, and I know that you're prepared for it, Shane and Nathan, is that there's a gentleman that owns and operates over 20 facilities nationwide. Him and I have been doing the follow-up game, guys, I swear to you, for 10 years. Literally more. What am I saying? More than 10 years. And the funny thing is that I had one of our advisors, Nathan, came to me a while ago, and he was so proud of himself. And he said that I finally landed this account. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Show me what happened. And he goes, "I've been working after this account for over a decade." And he started to show me all his emails and his phone calls and his credit card receipts for every time he sent the person a gift or a food item or whatever, like just remember me or a love note. And I said to him, was it really worth it? Was it really, really worth it to spend all that time for 10 years and really investing so much in that one relationship? Wouldn't have your time been spent better otherwise? Nathan, what do you think about that in terms of, like, when is that limit of how much should I follow up with someone?
I think there is no limit, right? I think one of the things that people know me for is no doesn't always mean no when it comes to sales. And we think that they said no, but you caught them at the wrong moment. You caught them at the wrong time. And sometimes you just have to keep following up and following up and following up. I have without giving away too much information, there was someone who I knew very, very well who did the biggest coal deal with another country, and his boss told him that he was crazy, but he followed up for 3-4 years every single week with these people. And everyone was like, they're never going to need to buy coal, right? This country will never need to buy coal. And one day they realized that their reserves were getting low, and they called him back and they said, "Hey, do you want to sell us coal?" Right? And so it just depends on how you feel and what the person says to you. Sometimes I make a phone call, and it's happened to me, and the response back or the email back is, "Nathan, lose my number." What do I do? And I close the deal like that. I called the guy straight back. I called him and I said, "Hey, it's Nathan Ginsbury here from Aploy." And he goes, "Didn't I just send you an email?" I go, "Yeah, but can I just talk to you for 5 minutes?" Right? So his no was a frustration, or lose my number was a frustration on the fact that he was getting bombarded by emails. No one actually calls him. No one actually picks up the phone and actually calls this guy. Suddenly, it was someone who actually picked up the phone, called him, engaged in conversation, and closed a deal. So following up, Michael, Shane, I think we're all saying the same thing, is super, super, super important.
So I'm actually saying a little bit of a nuance to it. First of all, we spoke about it a few sessions ago, how Mark Cuban only likes emails. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You got to call people. It's not just emails. But I will tell you, there are certain times that I'm going to say this. I'm going to, straighten my cap and look in the camera and make sure you hear me properly when I say this to you. There are some times where you have to let go. Oh my God, Michael. Wow. You have to let go. What do you mean? I shouldn't follow up constantly? There are some times where you have to let go. What I mean is you only have a certain amount of time in your day. You only have a certain amount of resources that you can, take on. Shane, has there been any times that you've let go and that you've regretted it? Or what are your thoughts on following up?
Regret it? There's a few, but I look at it this way. I mean, we're in sales, and when you get a win, you get a sale. That's a great feeling, and so that's why you keep doing it day in, day out. And so my colleague, whenever he got that win, 10 years, 12 years, whatever it was, that was a feeling of internal, I guess, struggle that he won over. And so I look at it as like, great, that's a win.
Yeah, look, I'm just saying there are certain times where you got to let go. And, it's sensitive, and maybe for everyone it's different. My point is that if it's a focused customer out of another country that you're trying to wake up, then of course the consistency is important because they're top of mind with you in mind when it comes up. And that's why you got that call. But
unless you're getting a restraining order, then probably not, right?
So, Michael, we can agree to disagree or disagree to agree, right? From the follow-up perspective. But I think as a business owner, you want a win. You want the deal. I think where we get carried away sometimes is by thinking that actually something takes up so much of my time. Following up with people can take 3 minutes, 30 seconds, or 5 minutes. We have hours in the day.
I know, but my argument to that is that, the guy that tells me, it only takes you 5 minutes a day to do X, Y, and Z. I only have so many 5 minutes throughout my day. And I get what you're saying. And as a biker, by the way, who gets on his bike every day and does miles and miles and miles, I know I'm talking to the wrong person because you're like, come on. I mean, but I'm just that guy that lunch with Michael is me getting skinny, eating skinny popcorn. You know what I mean? So by the way, Shane, this is my lunch right here. All right. So thank you for reminding me. I'm just saying that there's only a certain amount of minutes that we have in our day. Use them wisely. And I'm talking to certain people only. And I'm saying to them, sometimes you got to let go and start following up with the more important ones. That's all I'm saying.
But that, I hear that. I do hear that. And we sometimes do let them go, right? We do let them go, but they come back. And I think Karen just makes a very good point.
Shane's perspective, by the way, in terms of, until you get a restraining order, you don't stop following up. Shane, that's a good one. I'm going to use it. But on that note, so there's a guy I've been toying around with for over a decade, and I want to call him here. I have it written down. Every few months, we flirt with each other. You know the type?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take him off speaker just because I know that he picks up using his name every time. So for those of you that recognize his voice, if you know, then it's too bad. And it was declined. Okay. That's the beauty of doing things live. But I'd like to follow up today. And Shane, we're going to get to a few of yours. I know you have prepared people that you've met in the past or spoken to in the past. I want to call those people and follow up with them, whether you're going to do it or I'm going to do it, or maybe Nathan's going to do it. And we're going to critique each other. And I want to talk about leaving a message. This is a really important topic of mine because I feel like it's a very sensitive one in terms of, best practice use and, experience. So Nathan, I'm ready for what you have to say. And I want to talk about the topic of leaving a message. Now, the message can be a written message that you write to the person, showing them love by taking a piece of paper and a pen that I've done many, many times. And this is my life, my pen and paper. Okay. And many, many times I've written handwritten letters to show them the love and to show them that they mean something to me. So I've done that, but I'm not such a fan of leaving voicemails. I'm not such a fan of sending emails, but I do know that it's important at a certain point. So I'm curious, Nathan, what's your thoughts on leaving messages, whether it's emails or voicemails? When it comes to following up with people, how do you make those rules in terms of leaving messages?
Great question. And obviously, we're here to help each other and to share and to give ideas of what we do as salespeople. And I'm sorry if there's any customers or prospects who are watching this who learn what I did to get around it. But I think if you're a sales guy, salesperson on this, listening to this, it's going to help you. I never, ever leave a voicemail, right? I have a rule of thumb. I want to either control the deal I want to control the deal. If I want you, I go to you. If you need me, you come to me. If it's a sticky situation, we meet in the middle and we go to a restaurant or we go to get a coffee somewhere. That's from the sales technique perspective. But when leaving a voicemail, you've left the control in that person you've left the voicemail with for them to call you back. I have no right to call you back again. But let me give you all a little trick. I have an app on my phone. It gives me multiple numbers. I can call from any number that I want, and it will always divert back to my cell phone. It's an app. I'll share it here. It's called Hushed, right? It can give me a number localized to where you are. And I dial from that number if you haven't picked up to my cell phone. And you call, and then you call again. But if you leave that voicemail, you can never call that person. You shouldn't.
I'm gonna go straight into it and ask you. So you're calling a person, and I've done this before, by the way. I used Spoof Card, by the way, just so there's a whole bunch of different apps for it. I've done it for other reasons though, when people owe me money. I'm kidding. But what I'm really asking is that in terms of, okay, so you tried reaching somebody and he sees that Nathan's calling and he's not answering because he's busy for whatever reason or it's not the right timing. And then the next day he sees Nathan's calling again and again, he's not the right time. And then the next day he sees a random number and it's Nathan. Don't you feel a little bit uncomfortable the second he picks up? How do you get through that anxiety of pushing through where you got him? Like, you didn't pick me up for Nathan for 2 days. I called from a different, 786 number, and now you're picking up the phone. How do you push through that wall of anxiety of, oh my God, he actually just picked up. He's going to hear it's my voice and he's going to be potentially upset that I got through to him.
Top tip. I don't care. I don't think about it, right? As a salesperson, you have to stop thinking. Just get on and do it. That's what I would say to anybody who wants to get into sales. Don't overthink anything. I have one goal. Whether it's helping my customers, helping my prospects, and getting a deal across the line. That is my goal. How I get to it, I don't even think about. I have to ask you, Nathan, what is your best movie or reference of a song or a book? Because you're a pretty unique dude when it comes to your approach. Like, what drives you? What is that favorite movie or TV show or whatever of yours? So, it's a very good question. And I knew you were going to ask this, but truth be told, I don't watch movies. I don't watch TV. I listen to very little music. So there's not really a favorite that I would say. There's one thing that drives me every single day. My wife, my kids, my family, and that I never, ever don't want to be able to provide. So I apologize. I knew that question was coming, but
so no books either, you're saying?
So books, I read any books that my wife purchases. That she thinks that I might like. I read. Harry Potter is definitely my favorite. If I'm going to be honest, Harry Potter is definitely.
There he is. There he is. Okay.
I will read it over and over
sales.
Again.
I've met people like you before, Nathan, and I'll be honest with you. I meet that person every morning when I look in the mirror. It's that person that has that drive and that know-how in our DNA. We have it in us. It's like, I shared this publicly a few weeks ago that, I started selling bazooka gum in my locker when I was a young boy, and then I went to baseball cards and so on and so forth. So we have it in us. This is what we do, and we've learned the tips and the tricks over the years. I feel sometimes that you and I would open a book and we'll be like, this is my life. What are you serious? Like, these are the tips. And that's why I think that doing something like this that we're doing now is so important, because not everybody watches movies, not everybody watches TV, not everybody reads books or listens to music and gets motivated. Some wait for LinkedIn Lives. Some wait for the video collage that we're going to create here and send out to people to motivate them and give them the right tips of how to properly follow up, because you're saying things that are a little bit different than what people might be used to hearing. We did all agree on the fact that everyone has to feel at home. And Karen, thank you for sharing that. It's like raising kids. Yes, having a work family is definitely like having a real family. And when you make people feel at home, they want to come back home. That's really the bottom line. That's, you said it earlier, Nathan, as far as a community is concerned, you have someone that leaves the community, they always know they can come back home, no matter what community it is, because home is family, family is home. So, and Karen also mentions that sometimes getting the deal means taking a step back. That's true. That is true. So I would say is like based on Nathan, what you're saying. So I would call on a Monday, no answer, call on a Wednesday, no answer, and then give it a little bit, put the brakes, and next Monday call from a number that they don't know. Like that's, using the Karen method and the Nathan method together.
Yeah, I mean, I'd add one more point. I would call 2 or 3 times on Monday, right? And then I would call maybe another couple of times.
Honestly, I'm learning something from you. I'm being honest with you. You really don't care.
Until I actually get a physical no. It's not. You go to the airport, Michael, and you ask for an upgrade. Yes.
Honestly, I manifest everything I ask for. So by me, it's like I'm getting that yes, no matter what.
The worst case scenario is you're going to get a no. Until you get that no, keep asking.
I'm definitely not afraid of getting a no. And I'll tell you why, because I just, people are asking me questions. How's it going? I'm like, here, this is how it's going. I'm not afraid of getting no's, and I'll tell you why. I'm not afraid because getting a no means I can write them off and move on. And the truth is that sometimes for me, getting a no means it's a no from you, but I'm going to find someone that might care differently than you. And I've been wasting my time going after you with that no. But you said something very interesting. You said, stop thinking, right? You said you want to control the deal by not leaving voicemails. So I actually used to think that way in terms of not leaving voicemails. And I still do. It's like a general rule. Like if people ask me, like, do you leave voicemails? Whoa, do not leave voicemails. Stop it. We're not, this is not, you don't get paid to leave voicemails or to spend time doing sales calls. You get paid when you close deals, right? So stop leaving those voicemails. However, I did find a unique thing that works for me, and I'd like to share it with both of you. And I'm curious your opinion, right? So you meet someone at a trade show or at an event, or you do that initial cold call, and they're interested in taking the next step forward. Usually for us, the next step forward is a kill. It's like a Zoom call. It's like, you get on together, you give them attention, and you give them the love, and you make them feel like they want to be part of your community, and you want to be part of their community, and you're ready to save together and help each other, right? You're in that mode. So, but before you get that Zoom call set up, right, you need to do that follow-up, which is what we're talking about right now. So, going back to the concept of following up after you met someone and trying to get that meeting happen, I find that generally the rule is do not leave a voicemail, but I do have a trick, and I'm going to share that trick with you because, Nathan, we're being vulnerable and we're sharing tricks. I'm going to share one trick too. One of the tricks that I do is, hey, Nathan, it's Michael calling from Prime Source. Hope you're having a wonderful day in Colorado. I see that your team won the basketball game last night. Fantastic. Great for you. Listen, I'm going to be sending you an email shortly, and I'll just call you back tomorrow to follow up. Thanks. Have a good day. And I hang up. The reason why I do that is because I don't ask him to call me back. I simply let him know that I'm there. I have him hear my voice, and then he remembers me the next day when he sees me. Oh, this is Michael again. You know what? He was nice on the voicemail yesterday. Let me give him a shot because he gave an effort. My feeling is that voicemails are a one-time chance, and you should use it very, very carefully, but very methodically. That's my thought. What do you think about that, Nathan?
I'm listening. I'm taking it in. I think it depends on the circumstance and the situation, but I think before you got to that voicemail, what did you do as a follow-up, right? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. And something I learned, I read a lot online, not stories, not books. One of the things that I do a lot is read every single spam email that comes into my inbox, and I get a ton, right? What is the reason that I do that? Is because I learn how not to write an email. I can teach my team how not to create emails, that you don't look like you're a bot just sending out mass emails. So you ask what I read, I actually do. My spam folder gets read every single day of every single email, whether it's coming from factories out in China or whether it's coming from people from job boards that are looking for things. I read every single one.
Have you actually ever read an email that you said, wow, this is a good approach, and you adapted that approach?
Absolutely. There's definitely been some line openers.
What is that line opener? Share with us today. Give me an idea of a line opener that you've seen or that you can think of now that would work.
Subject line. Critical. Put your name and number in the subject line.
Wow.
Right? That works wonders. The reason is, I'll tell you the reasoning behind it is some people don't have their emails on their phone that they open up the whole email to see. They just see subject lines. When they click on that, they're dialing straight through to your number. And that works. That definitely works. People react to that. It's something different. I had someone responding back to an email that I was chasing for a long time going, no one's ever put their contact information right there for me to see. So thank you. I'm getting back to you.
I have to tell you, that's Shane. I see you're taking notes. What are your
I was
thoughts?
taking notes. So you just put your name and then your phone number, nothing else. That's it.
Nothing else. Name and phone number. Now you're piquing their interest. One of the things I say to the sales team here at Apploy every single day, trigger. What is your email? What is your messaging going to do that's going to trigger a reaction from the person that you're sending it to? If it's not going to trigger you, don't send it. Don't do it. Trigger.
I love that, by the way. That's like, that's like when you go on the web, you say, what's your call to action, right? So you're defining it as a trigger, and Faggy agrees with you, and she loves that idea. And I also love it. And Miguel is saying, by the way, how business follow-up calls had turned into personal follow-up calls with him. I have to tell you, that happens more to me than I would like to admit. I created so many personal relationships from business that didn't even amount to business, but amounted to personal relationships that later on in life amounted to business. And that's what ultimately building that community is all about. And that's a really cool tip also. Something that I like to go through on every one of my programs is talk about best practice, right? What is best practice when doing things? I've heard, Nathan, from you, what we're calling secrets and tips of, and I hope that, everybody will learn from this, that when we share ideas with each other, we grow together. This is not a competition in terms of I'm going to keep mine under wraps and no one's going to know how I write my emails. It's better to share, in my opinion, because then you get other people to share and it's a chain reaction. So the trigger that we're talking about is using best practice, is in the subject line, putting the name and phone number so that person right away knows who you are and has an instantaneous way to get a hold of you. That's genius, Nathan. I absolutely love it. I like the idea also of community and the sense of building that community. That's also best practice in terms of, creating that relationship. And like I was saying earlier, bringing out the love in yourself and in them, and them understanding that that's the community we're building. And then another best practice tip that we've mentioned earlier is stop thinking. Just do it. And I have to tell you that, I share this publicly on the None of Your Business podcast that we've launched recently. And I have to tell you, it's been making my life better and better every day. And that is, I'm sharing my anxieties. And I'm a believer that every one of us have anxieties to some capacity, and that every one of us are dealing with it. Some of us are ignoring it. Some of us are dealing with it. Some of us understand that it's there and ignore it on purpose. Whatever your therapist or your friends or your mentor or you yourself tell you to do that works, do it. Do something about it. But I have to tell you that in the beginning of my career, I had the anxiety of rejection. To me, it was really, really difficult because, and it wasn't about calling people and them saying no, because I know statistically that the numbers will do better for me if you make more phone calls. It was about the uncomfortable feeling, like, for example, collecting charity for somebody else. Like, it's just uncomfortable for me to call somebody and ask them for charity. Like, I don't want to do it. It's like, and it's almost made me feel connected in that world, like I'm asking the person for charity. That's what I thought about when I started off in doing sales professionally over 2 decades ago. I felt like, okay, I don't want to bother this person too much. I don't want to be a nuisance to them. But the truth is, what I discovered over the years is finding that balance that I like to talk about a lot. And you're taking that lever, by the way, Nathan, you're putting it all the way on do not care. And I'm learning from that even now, 2 decades later, growing in my world of sales. If first of all, in general, I've learned from, therapy and, exploring the world of anxiety, that the less you care about the things that are not important, the less anxiety you'll have, right? That's just a general rule. So implementing that rule in sales and making that like the number one thing. So, I sort of like, I ask people when they start for us, elevating their levels in sales, why are you into sales? It's a question I love to ask people. I like when people answer me the truth. And I like when I hear the truth is because I love just connecting with people and I love making money. And it's definitely a way to continuously control your destination as much as possible, your destiny, by doing sales in a commission world. Shane, I'm curious, what are your anxieties when it comes to doing that call? When does it kick in?
I think it kicks in probably when they don't really answer. I'm like, all right, what's my next step? Now I got to figure that out, and I got to take time to figure that out. I mean, because once I get them on the phone, I mean, I can, bring them up. I mean, if I spoke to them before in the past, I always bring up some type of story or some type of thing that we've engaged to before or something like that. Like, I know we were at a trade show just recently, and I introduced myself, and I would tell them, I'm the tall guy that you spoke to at our booth who had a claw machine. And so once I get past that, I'm like, oh yeah. So I wanted to make sure. I guess the majority of it would be, not connecting the dots would be an anxiety for me.
I mean, Nathan, thank you for sharing that, Shane. Nathan, what are your anxieties when it comes to sales?
Hitting the numbers, right? But I don't think about it till the last day of the month or the last day of the quarter, right? But
really? So you're like a car dealership? Like, the last days when all the sales are going out?
Shane, you bring up a very interesting topic, right? And, from an anxiety perspective, Michael, if you don't mind digging into this for a minute or two.
Please.
The one thing that I would ask you is how many deals or how many prospects are you working on to get rid of that anxiety, right? If you're working on 2-3 prospects a day, that anxiety level will go right the way through the roof. Whereas if you're working on 10-15 prospects a day, then it doesn't matter if you don't get that answer from 7, 8, 9 of them. And technology's changed. The world's changed. When I started out in sales 20 years ago, and I say it and I feel like I'm really old, and I'm not, I'm young. They gave me a book that was like this big called the Marketing Manager's Yearbook. And they told me, call anybody you wanted. And what I did all day was this, right? 200 plus phone calls a day until I got through to somebody, until I got through. And that just built up a momentum of being able to just make phone calls, just not take no for an answer. Today's technology has allowed us to basically hide behind the computer screen or behind your phone and texting, WhatsApping, emailing, and everything else. How many of your prospects just don't get that many phone calls? And they may say, I don't want to pick up the phone, but quite honestly, they're happy to speak to you. I tell reps this all the time. If you get an hour scheduled on your calendar with somebody for a demo, why are they giving you that hour? Why are they giving you that hour? Because they want to talk to you. They want to engage with you. No one else is engaging with them. They just want to talk. So you need to sell for 5 minutes of that conversation at the end. The rest is let them talk to you. Let them engage with you of what they want to do. And I would just say you need more prospecting to reduce your anxiety because it's a numbers game. Sales is
I gotta say, Nathan, I'm loving this. As you're talking and I'm seeing Shane's face light up and hearing this, I feel like we're onto a new segment here on the live sessions that we're doing, and that is Ask a Mentor, right? So like I'm looking at you right now as a mentor. I'm looking at Shane as someone who's asking, hey, how do I deal with my anxieties when it comes to getting that rejection? And I'm looking at you as giving that answer as you got to up your numbers. If you up your numbers in terms of the anxiety that you have from those calls, after a while, you'll realize that the anxiety lessens because you're not thinking about the next call so much, right? And I think that's where you're coming from, Nathan, if I can, is that, that concept of having that anxiety of sitting with you. Okay, I have to make 10 calls a day. Okay, so I finished this one call and now I'm going to sit and like relish over how I did this call, and I'm going to figure out what I did right and what I did wrong. And how you're saying, stop thinking. Just stop thinking. Get on that phone and just do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again. And that gets rid of the anxiety. And I love that thought. Love that thought. Shane, use Nathan here as a mentor, if you will, and let's start a new segment of Ask the Mentor. Any questions that you have?
Well, top of my head, and I can't really think of anything, but I want to reach out. I want to reach out to Nathan and say, hey, you know what? Why don't we do this on the side too? But yes.
Sure. My number's right out there. You can call me anytime, text me anytime.
I know. Exactly. It's going to be your name and email, your number.
Well,
that is it.
Shane, you think about that while we continue, but I'm up to my favorite part of the program, which is making phone calls live. And I like doing that because I like to learn from, the concepts of what we do and how we do it. And Shane, I also love putting you on the spot. So I know that you have a couple of leads. Go ahead. What's up?
So I do have, and I'm thinking of just myself and some other people is, for a mentor, if they come onto the phone and you're asking about either getting a deal or a meeting or going to the next step and they go, now's not the right time. What would you do in a situation like that?
So firstly, the question is, when is the next time, right? The next question that you have, when is the next time? I understand. I appreciate it's not the right time. When is the next time, right? Is it next week? Is it tomorrow? Is it in 2 weeks? Is it in a month? Is it in 3 months? And, obviously Michael mentioned about just not following up on a wasted energy, or if you want to call it that. In 3 months' time, I have to follow up with Nathan. And then actually just make that follow-up. And the day of, you send calendar invites of the best thing, because the person who you sent the invite to gets alerted to it, knowing that they have this call with Shane, 3 months' time. Now they're thinking, who was this guy, Shane? When was this meeting booked? What's going on? You follow up and you say, hey, I know we have a meeting coming up in an hour. Just want to make sure that you're still good with it. Do you need to reschedule it? Or you don't even ask to reschedule.
Are you saying, Nathan, that, I just want to clarify this for a moment. It sounds like this is what you're saying. You're saying like if you call someone and they say, hey, now's not the right time, and you ask the follow-up question, which is very good. Okay, so when is the right time? And the person says, give me a call in 3 months. Like, you feel like they're on edge, they're busy, they're doing something else, their mind's not on your topic. And you say, all right, thank you very much. Do you hang up and then send them a calendar reminder right then and there?
The calendar invite will be gone out before I put the phone down. If they tell me in 3 months' time, that calendar invite is out there in 3 months.
Right. Because so you have your email address already, and you're saying, okay, no problem. I'll follow up with you in 3 months. And as you're hanging up, the calendar invite already goes there, and the day of, it reminds them, and it's all in your settings in your CRM.
That's it. It's all there, ready to go. You don't have to think about it.
I love that.
3 months.
I absolutely love that. I knew this segment of Ask a Mentor is going to take us to new heights, and it already is, because that is a great tip, Nathan. And we're coming to a close soon, and I just have to say, I'm inviting you back. I'm not going to be here next week because I'm traveling for Shabbos Nachamu, so it's a very special Shabbos weekend for me, and I always like to go to holy places. So I'll be traveling throughout the weekend. So next week, Thursday, we'll be off. But the following week, Nathan, I think we're going to continue this Ask the Mentor process, and we'll get, some other Shanes on the line, and maybe even get other mentors with us so we can ask a mentor. And I like this process. So Shane, let's jump right into it. You have at least a couple of leads that you've met in the past few months. Is it? Pick one, tell us who it is, and let's go through this, and let's make a call on the air live. Let's do it.
Okay. I'm not going to mention names or places, but we spoke briefly. We actually had a demo, or I guess a discovery call, and we tell them more about our services, we learn more about them, and they have not been back on the phone. And I've reached out several times.
Okay, I'm going to do this call now for you. Okay,
and that's going to be the first one.
Yeah, just WhatsApp me so I can see it here. No problem.
Whilst you're doing that, Shane, change the word discovery to discussion. Okay. Right? As salespeople, we get too caught up in discovery. Do you have the right to ask me questions? Maybe yes, maybe not, depending on the relationship. But if you actually change your mindset to it being a discussion, we're here together, two people, two grown adults, having a conversation. I'm learning about you, you're learning about me. You make that more of a discussion. You're able to find out a lot more information than just I
love that. Thank you, Nathan. Is this this is the one ending in 5506?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is it a standalone? Give me the research that you've done on this.
It's a standalone facility, yes.
So one standalone facility. Do you know what size?
Off the top of my head, I do not. Give me
okay. And who am I calling? What's the person's name is not on this list over here. I see the person's name with the first. Yeah, the first. Okay. All right.
So Nathan, hey, so it's kind of like dating then, right? So you're asking about them, or where you're from, or your interests.
Yes and no, but you're also asking about their business. You're showing an interest in their business. Michael, Shane's bringing up a whole nother discussion of.
We've got mentors. We're dating. Wow, there's a lot you can learn here.
I love it. I think that you should introduce this idea while I make that phone call. But what is your instant reaction to that?
My instant reaction is someone actually said to me at a trade show once. I asked him what he does, and he goes, coming to a trade show is like dating. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, before you sleep with the person, you actually have to learn a little bit about them. I said, see, that's where we disagree. I came to a trade show to actually make contacts for business. I'm paying to be at the trade show to make business. I just want to know before we start the discussion, is there a synergy? Is there actually something that you and I can do together? If not, I have to move on because there's somebody else. Time is money. I'm here. You want to meet afterwards for a coffee? No problem at all. I can get to know who you are. But sometimes in sales, we get so caught up in what's right and what's wrong. What do you need to do? You need deals. You need to make money. You need to close deals. Focus. Keep focused on that. That's my.
I love it. I'm going to try this call, Steph. If you can mute me for a second while I get the person on speaker. And once I say their name, you can take it off. All right, so I'm on hold now. I got through the gatekeeper. Her and I are friends already.
Nice.
And I'm waiting for the person to pick up. I'm here. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Just let me know if she's around. Thanks. I appreciate that. Gatekeeper is so important, guys. Oh my God, they're your key. They're your ticket into every single sale. When is the person around? Where are they? Are they in a position of power for what I'm looking for? So important. So important. All right. You know what? She deserves a lunch too. So it absolutely makes sense. Can I, I'll call back in like 15, 20 minutes though. Would that work? Amazing. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye. All right, so she's on her lunch, and I'm choosing not to leave a voicemail right now, and that's fine. But I'm excited to try again, so I'm going to do it one more time. Now I have the second facility. That's just a standalone as well, the one ending in 6394?
Go to the last one.
Okay. Is that his cell number?
That is his office line.
Okay, no problem. And what is that? What kind of group
he
is
is the purchasing person for a group of homes.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
And we met at a trade show.
And you met one time?
Yes.
All right.
And we talked high level about what he does, what we do. He seems interested.
Nathan, what would be your advice when you're calling somebody now after you met them at a trade show just a couple of days ago? First of all, how long do you wait after the trade show and you're meeting somebody?
I knew that was coming. Okay. Christy, if you're listening, don't kill me for sharing this with the world. We ran numbers. Okay, if the trade show ends on a Thursday, if you follow up on Friday, the chances of getting a next meeting booked is in the 90%. Whereas if you wait till Monday, it drops to in the 20s, right? Now, there's a reasoning behind that. Is everybody overthinks it. Everybody is saying to themselves, I have to wait. They're going to be coming back to their office. They were just traveling. So everybody's bombarding them the week after. Whereas if you actually follow up that next day, I've been at trade shows where I followed up at the trade show with people. And I want to share one more thing that I hope he doesn't mind me using this one. Neil Stern taught me this, right? Take a picture with people you're talking to and you WhatsApp them there and then. So that way, when you follow up the next day, 2 days later, their memory is, hey, I was with this person yesterday, 2 days ago. And that picture comes up right away on the phone, on text, on WhatsApp, however you want it to be. So I follow up. I try to follow up right away.
Following up right away, we've spoken about it before. Your chances of success are so much higher. By the way, I'm on hold for my next call. So hi there. My name is Michael Green. Thank you. One of my associates, Shane Withers, had met you at a trade show recently, and was talking to you about our services. I was wondering if I could set up a time to actually go through it and have a discussion with you about what it is that we do and how we can possibly work together.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So maybe we could just set something up. When's the earliest convenience for you? Like what time, what day? Would tomorrow work?
What is tomorrow, Friday?
It's already Friday. Could you believe it?
It's Friday.
No, not really. This week has been rough.
It's been one of those weeks. Yeah, yeah. You know what? Did you have storms?
Yes.
Oh boy. Is everybody okay?
Yes.
Okay.
What time tomorrow?
Whatever time you pick. I'm an early riser.
Let's see. How about 11 a.m.?
11 a.m. is perfect. I'll see you then. I'll send you an email invite, and it's going to be a Zoom call that I'm going to invite Shane as well. And I look forward to learning more about you guys.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
There you go.
All right. First of all, by the way, that was Jamie. Shane, just make a note. That wasn't the other one that you
Thank
told
you.
me, because the other one didn't work, that phone number. It actually did work, but it was a group that I'm aware of, so never mind that. I'm going to stop what I'm doing here right now. And in the next 4 minutes, I'm going to ask you, Nathan, to talk all about this phone call that just happened. Tell me about what I did wrong, what I did right, what I need to do now, what my next steps are. Just go. Mentor me.
I mean, you did a lot right? There was a ton that you did, and I know this was a live, so the pressure's on. The one thing that I was thinking to myself is that what I try to do, you've got that person on the phone. Can I send you a Zoom link right now? Can I show you the product? You have 10 minutes, right? So now you're not waiting for that time for something to crop up tomorrow. And again, you're on the live here. You have everyone watching.
No, of course. I couldn't get into a pitch now, but you're absolutely right. If I have that person on the phone, don't waste time and ask for tomorrow. Just get into it right now.
Correct. Again, depending on what you know about that person.
I was excited, by the way. I almost did. And I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, oh, man, we only have 3 minutes left.
Yeah, let me jump on a demo right away with you. But other than that, besides that you haven't sent that calendar invite yet, you did everything absolutely spot on, right? That's what you want to do. Get that person, engage with them. You spoke to them about the storm that they've had. You showed that you actually cared, and it's not just about the set.
Okay, super cool. So the idea is to send one right now. Shane, I assume that by now the invite was already sent.
I don't have their email. So Jamie's email. I assume you
Okay,
have it. If not, I'll call back and get
Yeah,
it.
no, I have it. It's in
Okay.
Salesforce. So I'll send it to you.
Got it.
But like Nathan said, it's 100% true. This is the idea of executing right when you get the momentum going. Strike while the iron's hot. You don't hear that enough, right? Like you just got to get all over it. But Nathan, be a little bit tougher with me. What could I have done? Less pressure. What could I have done better? What could I have done differently? I know what I did good. What did I do that I could do better?
Again, it was a very quick conversation, so to get an analysis out of it on the spot is a little tough. But did you ask enough questions to qualify that this was actually somebody that you wanted to take to a demo? Right now, you're taking this demo tomorrow. Have you qualified that person? Is it a decision maker? Is this a person who actually has an interest in the product? Did you explain enough about what you do for them to understand it?
Right. So thankfully, this one was from a trade show that Shane met personally, so we already know the information. So, but you're absolutely correct, and I can't say this enough. That's where we discussed months ago already on one of our first lives that we did. Research. When you speak to that person, you need to know who's in control of the decision making of why you're calling. How big is the facility? Are they a part of a chain? Who are they? Just understand better their life. And, what are your tricks to do, by the way, finally, in the last 60 seconds, your final tricks, because I love everything we heard so far of getting to know that person and doing that research.
I mean, LinkedIn is obviously a great tool. Google is an even better tool, right? You put someone's name into Google, you can see which, and I'm using the term football, soccer, baseball, you see what teams sometimes that they actually support. You become a bit of a private investigator where you're actually looking up somebody, understanding what they do, what's interesting to them.
Exactly.
So then,
be that investigator. Do that research. Nathan, we're coming to a close. Shane, thank you so much as always for being a good sport about this and putting our training live for the world to see and participate. Nathan, this has been amazing. The sense of community, stop thinking it, control the deal, all the things that we learned today, triggers. What are those triggers? Putting your name and number in the subject line. I can't wait till next time. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for joining.
Thanks for the support.